Hi, I'm Jay, and this is the Trion HE1400 electronic air cleaner. Let's talk about what normal is for these electronic air cleaners. So, the way the things work is air from your home is sucked down this duct. This is called the return air duct. So, air comes down this way, makes a turn. It goes through the pre-filters first. This particular air cleaner has 2 pre-filters in it. So the air goes through the pre-filters. The pre-filters don't actually clean the air. What they are meant to do is protect the air cleaner. They will catch things like baseball cards and bubblegum wrappers, birds, very large items, but they are not going to catch small particles. The smaller particles are meant to be caught by the collector cells. So again, air comes down here, dirty air, comes down in and goes through the pre-filters. Then it goes into the collector cells where it cleans the air, removes any particles from the air. It goes into the furnace, and then it gets redistributed throughout your home. That's normal. So right now, this thing is on. We have the blower running, and you can see there's a green light and a red light. They're both lit. So it is functional. Now, a really easy way to test to determine, hey, is it actually working, would be to take the return air ductwork, slap it, and what that will do is knock some larger particles loose that might be hanging on the inside of this ductwork, some dirt, and it will get sucked into the air cleaner and short out the cells temporarily, and it will make some snapping sounds. So let's just try that. Okay, so did you hear the snapping sounds? That was, again, large particles getting sucked into the air cleaner and shorting it out temporarily. Now, often when that happens, the red light will flicker just a little bit, but that's normal operation. So right now, we're not beating on a ductwork. The air cleaner is working perfect. Both lights are lit, the red and the green, and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So now we're going to talk about what happens if one or both of these lights are not lit. Okay, so now we have our demo unit set up where the green light is lit, the red light is not, and the fan is on. So we're moving air through the unit. We have the airflow sensor calibrated, which I'll talk about later, and we have no red light. So that means there's likely something going on inside either the power box or more likely the collector cells. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull both collector cells out and do a quick test. Okay, so now we're going to test the cells. We have a green light lit, red light is out. We're going to turn the power off to the air cleaner and pull the cells. There's one. And the second one. Okay, so now the cells are out, we're going to put the door back on and we're going to test the unit to see if the red light comes back on. Okay. So we have a green light and a red light, they're both on. We have the fan in the off position right now. And the red light was on there for a minute. Okay, so now it's off. So now we're going to turn the fan to the on position and see if this red light comes on. So we turn the fan back on the furnace after this thing calibrated here, and the red light came back on. So fan on, the red light's on. We're going to turn the fan off again and see what happens to the lights here. See if they should go where green light's on, red light shuts off. So let's try that. Okay, so we turned the fan off, and once it spun down, the red light shut off. So it's working perfect without the cells. So next thing is we're going to test the cells one at a time. So we're going to turn off the air cleaner, pull the door off, install a single cell all the way to the back. Okay, again, we're doing these tests with the fan in the off position because this particular air cleaner has an airflow sensor built into it, and it's electronic, so it calibrates with the fan in the off position. So let's just see here. See if this red light comes on. Okay, green light and red light both come on, which means that cell is fine. So now we're going to take that cell out and test the second cell. All right, so let's trade cells. We're going to turn the power off, turn the door off, remove the cell. We know that cell's good. Let's try this one. Again, we're going to push it all the way to the back, put the door back on, and we're going to turn it on and see what happens. Okay, the green light is lit. The red light there flickered for a second and it turned off. Let's try it again here. Okay, like I said, the red light flickered for a second and turned back off. And it made a humming noise. So we have a problem with this cell. So we're going to figure out what the problem is with this cell. All right, so we're going to turn the power off to the unit, take the cell out, and closely inspect it. All right, so this is the cell that was acting up. So we're going to inspect it real closely, and we're going to look for things like bent fins. Okay, one of the things that's common is in the process of washing the cells, one of the little corners here will get bent. So the fins all need to be parallel to each other, nice and straight, no bent corners, no wavy plates, nothing loose, and no obstructions in between the plates. Okay, we're going to look at that side and the other side here. Now on this side, this has the ionizing wires in it. So we're going to make sure that there's a wire between each of these spaces, and there is. There are wavy little, very thin wires that look like piano wires. They're called ionizing wires, but they're between each of these sections, okay? And sometimes one of these wires will break, and it will be flopping around, or part of it will be stuck between the plates, shorting it out. These are all intact. But I do see an obstruction down here. It looks like way down in there is a cricket. Looks like it's a dead body. So let's just turn this around and see if we can get to him. Okay, so right here, we have what appears to be a cricket. I'm just going to flick him out of there. All right, he's gone. And that's the only thing I was able to see on this cell was what appeared to be a dead cricket stuck between two of the plates. Okay, now that we've removed the dead cricket from this collector cell, we're going to put it back in there and we're going to test it again to make sure that we have resolved any issues with this particular cell. So let's do that. Again, all the way to the back of the air cleaner. And put the door back on. The fan is off on the blower. We're going to turn this on just to see what happens. Okay, both lights came on. There's no buzzing noise, no snapping noise, no nothing. So, oh, there it is. It just snapped once. Okay, perfect. So this cell is now in working order. So now we have this cell repaired. This cell there was nothing wrong with, so we can turn it off, put the other cell in, and test the assembly complete. All right. So we're going to turn the unit off, get the other cell in here. All right, both cells are in, both pre-filters are in there. We're going to turn it on. Perfect. No loud snapping noises. Both lights are lit. Again, the fan is off right now because we have an electronic airflow sensor on this one. And it just timed out, so it just calibrated. So if we get this blower running again, this light should come on and everything should take off and run. So let's do that now. We're going to get the fan in the on position. Okay, I've just turned on the fan and the red light came on. So both lights are lit and it's working perfect. This particular air cleaner has an electronic sensor in it, and that's an airflow sensor. And it needs to be calibrated, and it's calibrated every time the power is turned on or off to this thing, every time there's a power outage, every time you remove the door, put the door back on, it goes into a recalibration mode. So here's how that works. So I'm going to turn this thing off. Right now the blower is turned off, the air cleaner is turned off. I'm going to leave it off for a minute here, and then we're going to turn it back on and let it calibrate. So air cleaner's on, both lights came on, and right now this airflow sensor is recalibrating, and when it's done, there we go. Okay, so the red light just turned off, so the green light's on, red light's off, so it has recalibrated to what it believes is, this is what it looks like when no air is moving through the air cleaner. Okay, so it's perfect right now. So if we turn the furnace blower on, this light should come on. So let's just do that real quick. There we are. Okay, so the red light just came on, green light's still lit, and it has just realized that the furnace blower is running. Now, the way it does that is there's a hole right here on this particular model. Some of the models, there's a hole on the side, but this one has it in the front. When air passes through there, after you calibrate it, when air passes through there, it blows across a little sensor and it cools the sensor off so then it knows something has changed and it turns on the air cleaner. There are different types of airflow sensors. Not every electronic air cleaner has an airflow sensor. Some of the Trion units are shipped minus an airflow sensor. Some of them are set up, if they don't have an airflow sensor, they are typically wired to the furnace so that they are only getting power when the furnace blower is on. There are mechanical airflow sensors, and they have a little diaphragm in them, and the way they work is anytime they see a negative air pressure in this ductwork here, they will click and turn the air cleaner on. With the mechanical ones, the diaphragm ones, there is no calibration necessary. It just works. So with those, you can do anything you want, turn the power on, turn the power off. They always function. They always turn the air cleaner on when there's negative pressure here. Today I'm going to talk about Trion electronic air cleaner airflow sensors. Here are 4 different versions. This is the first version of the airflow sensor, and it is a mechanical style sensor. When this is mounted inside of the air cleaner power box, it's mounted up towards the front, and a little hose is normally attached to this thing, and that hose then goes from this device down to a little port on the cabinet itself, and that allows this sensor to see the negative air pressure in the return air duct. So again, this is generation 1. All right, so now we're on to airflow sensor number 2. Now this one is an electronic style, the same as the next 2, version 3 and version 4. They're all electronic style sensors, and the way they work is there's a little sensor back here, and when you first turn the air cleaner on, the sensor warms up, reaches a very specific temperature, and then it turns off the air cleaner. It then sits and waits until air blows across it and cools it off, and then it turns the air cleaner back on. So the way this is installed in the unit, again, this one's obsolete, but it kind of plugged into a circuit board similar to this one, and it kind of looked like this, where it was plugged in. And on the side of the air cleaner cabinet, there was a very small hole, about 1/4 inch round, and it was right opposite this little probe here, the sensor probe. So the sensor probe got hot, the air cleaner said, hey, I'm good, turns itself off. When the furnace blower comes on, air is drawn from the furnace room through that small hole, blows across the sensor, cools the sensor off. The sensor then says, hey, there's air being sucked into the air cleaner cabinet. That means the furnace blower is on, so I'm going to turn on the air cleaner. So that's how all of these work. All right, now we're on to version 3. This one looks a lot like this, very similar, same circuitry basically. The real difference on this one is the way it connects. This one does not plug into a circuit board. This one has connectors on the side where you attach wires to it, and those wires will then run from this device over to the main motherboard. But other than that, it functions the same as this. It is mounted up in the front of the air cleaner cabinet of the power box, and where this little sensor is, again, there's a small hole about the size of a quarter of an inch that's directly in front of it, and that allows air from the furnace room to get sucked across the sensor and drop its temperature. So that's how this one works. All right, now we are on to the fourth version of the airflow sensor. So this one is soldered directly onto the motherboard. So it comes with the motherboard, you can't get it separately. And it works the exact same as these other two electronic sensors. The difference is it's connected to the motherboard, so that's less wires and less things to go wrong. So this motherboard is mounted in the very front of the air cleaner power box, unlike prior generations where the motherboard was located to the middle or the rear of the power box. This one is right in the very front, and this little sensor is right behind the front panel of the power box. So there's a hole in the front of the power box that this particular model goes in, and a small hole about a quarter of an inch round. It's just a hair in front of this, and that allows the sensor to determine when air is being drawn into the air cleaner cabinet whenever the furnace blower is on. So that's how this one works. It is the simplest of all the designs, and it also needs calibration like the other two electronics. All these electronics require that same calibration procedure be done whenever the power is turned off to the air cleaner or the door is removed. If you determine that the problem is not with your collector cells, but the problem is actually with the power supply, then we offer a diagnostic service. So for the diagnostic service, what you want to do is take this power supply box here and ship it to us. So I'm going to show you how you remove it easily on this particular model. Be sure to turn the power off before performing any maintenance. All right, now that we've confirmed the power is off to the furnace and the air cleaner, we're going to take the door off. And on this model, there are two small screws located underneath here. Earlier versions of this air cleaner had a screw here and here in the front. This one has it underneath. So we're going to take a Phillips screwdriver. Now we've already unplugged the air cleaner. We're just going to lift up gently and pull it forward. And now lift out. All right, so here's the power box. This is what you send us. Just wrap it up like this. Purchase a diagnostic service from us online and include a copy of your order number with this so that we know whose it is when we get it. And once we receive it, we will test it and we will contact you to let you know what parts are faulty in it, if any. If you have sent us your power supply for testing and we've sent it back to you, here's how you put it back together. So we're just going to unravel that. Get the wires in the back there. Now, in the back of this particular power box, there's a little tab here. That tab goes into a slot. It's in the back of the air cleaner cabinet. So we're going to gently get it back here. And we're going to confirm, yep, okay, we are in the slot in the back. And we have two screws here. We will put those back in it. We're going to put the pre-filter back in. Okay, so both pre-filters are in there. Here's the second collector cell. Put the door back on. And all we have to do now is plug it back in and turn it on and let it calibrate. Thanks for watching. For additional help or questions, feel free to contact us.